Unit 3, Lesson 5, which is linear relationships and rate of change. So, first bit you're going to fill in here today. A ratio is what shows how one variable changes with respect to another. So we call it a ratio. And on a linear graph, this is also known as the slope of a line. Okay? This is known as the slope of a line. So go ahead and write that down. Go ahead and write that down.
And they're not cracked up like
Everybody get that bit of the notes down? No. Moving on. A slope is written as a ratio of the vertical change y to the horizontal change x between two or any 2 points on a line. And this remains the same for any 2 points on the same line. The slope is written as m in the formula y equals mx plus b.
Digger, you got one for him?
Thank you.
So the next bit here, we're going to talk about what these slopes are. So the slope of this line is what we call a positive slope because the line's going up. And if this is a positive slope, what do you think this one over here is?
Negative.
Good. Negative slope. And this one, what do you think?
Equal. Neutral.
Neutral is a good, it's actually called a zero slope. A zero slope. And anything vertical like this, we call that undefined. Because it doesn't have a slope.
Because it doesn't move side to side.
Exactly. Exactly. So finding slope from the graph. Count the change in y values, the rise, from the changes in the x values, run, and write as a fraction in simplest form. So the formula for slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's the formula for slope. We're going to find the slope. So how you find the slope is you take 2 points on the line. You can take any 2 points on the line. So I'm going to pick these two right here. And you figure out what the rate of change is. So slope is known as rise over run. So you also can see it written as m equals rise over run. So I'm going to write that as well. And that's going to be m equals, we're going up 2 units, and we're going over 1 unit. So m is equal to 2 on this question. So we went up 2 and then over 1. That's where that came from.
So you divide
2 divided by 1 is just 2. Exactly. So let's try the next one. So the next one is going to be rise over run. So from here to the next point, I'll put the next point here. From the point on the left to the point on the right, did we go down or up?
Down.
Down. So we went down 1 unit. So it's -1. And then how many units to the right did we go? 3. So that's what we call our slope. -1 over 3. Alex, you with us?
So basically, if you can't divide it evenly, you just do it as a fraction.
Exactly, yep. Exactly.
And your slope can be like negative, right? Like if it still divides evenly, it's like negative 3 divided by 3, it would just end up being negative 1 as your slope. Okay.
Yep. So now we're going to do the same thing for the next two. Now anytime we have a horizontal line, what's the slope going to be?
0.
0. Anytime we have a horizontal line, the slope's going to be 0.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime we have a vertical line, our slope's going to be?
0. Undefined.
Undefined. Good. Undefined. Good job. So now we're going to calculate the slope using 2 points. So when you calculate slope using 2 points, you need to label one of the points x1 and y1, and you label the other point x2 and y2. And once you have that information, you're plugging into the formula, which is m equals y2, which is 3, minus y1, which is 1, over x2, which is 4, minus x1. That gives me m equals 2 over 3. Makes sense? So let's try the next.
Oh, so basically you just do the change.
Exactly, the change. Good. So this is x1 and y1. This is x2 and y2. So we're going to plug in. So y2, the second y, minus the first y, over the second x, minus the first x. Now in this case, this one's a little bit more confusing, because what's negative 2 minus 4?
Negative 6.
Negative 6. And what happens when you subtract a negative in math?
You add them.
We add them. So this becomes addition. So what's 10 plus 2? 12. So we end up with negative 6 over 12. But can we reduce this fraction?
Yes.
What does this become?
3 over 6.
We can keep reducing.
Negative 2 over 4.
Keep going. Negative 1/2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Negative 1/2. Because I can divide the numerator and denominator by 6, which will give me 1/2. And then moving on to the next, we're going to call this x1. We're going to call this y1. And we're going to call this x2 and y2. So that's going to be m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That gives me m equals 0 over, this becomes addition. So that's going to be negative 8 plus 4, which is negative 4. But regardless, if the numerator is 0, what's 0 divided by anything?
0.
0. So in this case, our slope is 0.
So that just means it's a line that goes straight across.
Yeah, a horizontal line, exactly. Horizontal line. And on this one here, we're going to do the same thing. We got x1, y1, x2, and y2. That's going to be m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That gives me 4 over 0. Now this is a little bit different. Can you divide by 0? No. If you did this in the calculator, it gives you an error. So anybody have a guess on what we would call this slope?
Undefined.
Undefined. So if you have 0 in the denominator, in math we call this undefined. Because you can't divide by 0.
It would just be 0.
Exactly. It's okay to divide into 0. We can take 0 and divide it into multiple things, but we can't take something and divide it by nothing. So we say undefined. Any questions about that? All right.